Oh, of course we have no audio.
Yeah, I'm checking
All
back
right.
now. On neither of the platforms we have
All right.
audio.
Check
Sorry.
again. So we should be good now. It should be good. Yeah, I think we should be good.
Oh yeah, we're good.
We are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's roll that back. Roll that back.
All right. We're going to roll back. We're going to do this again. My head hurts
That's
already.
why I was like, I
Okay.
didn't do my shtick. Like,
Okay. So you're stressed out host as always. I just want to bang my head against the wall right now. All right. So again, we're using a new platform. So if there's issues, then just let me know. But again, welcome back to the No Holds Barred Network. I'm your host as always, the EVP of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany. And I'm with go ahead, Ray, just do it because I can't. I'm lost already.
What's up, guys? This is the Logan Ramundo, and we are live with a very special guest. Like Tiff said, he is the king of chaos. He is Logan Black. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. It is a wonderful and chilly Monday night, and I'm just sitting here ready to talk to you guys and anybody else who's decided to chime on in.
That's great.
Awesome.
All right. I am just shooting out a tweet right now so we can get some people in here. So I think we're good.
Okay.
I just got the alert also as well. So guys, tweet it out as well. We're on Facebook, we're on Periscope, and hopefully it all works out. So, but yeah, let me know if there's issues because we are working on a new platform. So if there's a problem, then let me know. So guys, if you are new to the No Holds Barred Network, here me and Ray, we interview anything coming to independent wrestling, wrestlers, promoters, referees, anything backstage. If they're out there, we want to know all their stories. So yeah, so are you ready to do this, Logan?
I am born ready.
Okay, so let's do this. So let's start it off with a simple question. Not everybody may know you, but how did you become a professional wrestler?
Oh man, it's a long-winded question, but let's try and concise it down. I've just been a wrestling fan my entire life. Literally everybody in my family has interest in wrestling or was a huge fan. So I grew up watching from as far back as I could remember. And, you know, I used to write essays in like elementary school and junior high about, you know, I'm going to be a professional wrestler, you know. I'm going to be a policeman, I'm going to be a spaceman, whatever. Like everyone, this is what it goes with. But for me, it was something that I knew that I had to do. As soon as I graduated high school, I paid for a gym membership, having never lifted a weight in my life. Spent a year trying to get myself into somewhat athletic shape, and then got started right after that. I went to Johnny Rods's pro wrestling school in Brooklyn, New York, which I would not recommend to anybody else. Like I said, I'm not pulling any punches here, guys. Yeah, so I started out there, and I've just kind of been doing my thing ever since, and, you know, I follow the money, I follow the competition, and I love professional wrestling. Has not wavered. My love for pro wrestling has not wavered in, you know, all these years.
That's great. And we love wrestling too over here, right?
Definitely. I think we do, right?
I
That's why we're
think
here?
so. I don't know. I mean, you see us at a lot of the shows, and we cause we cause a lot of havoc. Well, I do anyway. I get Ray in
I
trouble
was
all
gonna
the
say,
time.
I don't cause any havoc. I get in trouble with you.
I get Ray in trouble a lot.
But let's keep it going here. So I always like to talk about the evolution of characters in wrestling, and you've definitely started from one character to now being the King of Chaos. Can we talk a little bit how we evolved from, for those that may not know, being the original American Nightmare?
So, well, I'll go even prior to that. I started out again at Johnny Rod's school, and he had labeled me Slick. Not the manager Slick, you know, the doctor style, but he called me Slick for some reason. I don't know. I walked in there with like a spiky mohawk. I used to spike it up. It was spiky mohawk. I was young and dopey looking, but I was apparently Slick. So I started out as Slick. I thought I was Michael P.S. Hayes. I used to walk around with like an 80s members only jacket doing the strut. And it just wasn't me. I was trying to be something that I wasn't. From there, they decided they were going to label me and a buddy of mine as a tag team. And they would label us as Nasty Boys 2000. Except that it was 2008. So we were apparently from the past instead of the future. Or, you know, the Nasty Boys of a past generation. Who knows? Poor ideas. But from there came the tag team of the American Nightmare. And then once my tag partner had stopped wrestling, I adopted that nickname because I'm a huge, you know, take one look at me. I grew up in the punk and hardcore scene. The Misfits are my favorite band. And they wrote the song American Nightmare. And to me, that was what it was all about. And then one December morning, I wake up to my phone, literally emails, texts, phone calls, everything. And it was always, did you see Cody's video? And then I watched it and I was like, well, Cody's the American Nightmare. And you know, to be fair, that makes way more sense than some jackass from Brooklyn being the American Nightmare. So I had to think quick, and I've gotten into this. I'm sure I'll hype my podcast later on here, but I got into where I got the name from. There was a young lady in Brooklyn. She was, let's just call her a dancer, and she had a tattoo on her stomach area that said Chaos Queen. And I was a fan of hers for like the work that she does, so it always stuck with me. And you don't forget a big ass tattoo that says Chaos Queen. So I kept running through that, like Chaos King, King of Chaos. There we go. And I think it perfectly describes me. A whole lot better than Slick, a whole lot better than a Nasty Boy, and a whole lot better than an American Nightmare.
Interesting.
Well
I love it. See, I love to hear the stories behind names as well. So, hey, y'all. Hey, we like to have fun around here, right?
Hey, you got to, man.
You got to.
Okay.
You got to.
Keep it going.
All right, let's keep.
If I wasn't having fun, then I would not have found that name. So
well, hey.
Fun is the name of the game.
Again, hey, yo. All right. So, again, I like to ask a lot of questions that maybe like the fans might not know, or, you know, maybe never seen you before. So what would you define your wrestling style as? And is there a particular style that you'd like to try that you haven't had a chance to yet?
Oh, man. So I'll say off the bat, I'd really, really like to try doing a bit more lucha, because anyone who's ever watched me work, I don't wrestle. I fight. I throw punches. I throw forearms. I'm a brawler. I like doing hardcore. I've got scars all over my body from death matches that I've done. You know, fighting, brawling, hardcore, that's my bread and butter. And that's what I get paid to do. Like, nobody's put me on their card and looking for, you know, leg locks or stuff like that. You put me on there to make somebody bleed. I get that. But I make sure to kind of, you know, stay diverse with everything that I watch, I study, and that I practice. So lucha is something that, I mean, I certainly wouldn't say that I'm, you know, a great lucha libre performer, but I certainly can go in there and hang with pretty much anybody. So I genuinely like to do that. I would also say more of like, I love British wrestling, like the old school World of Sport British wrestling. I was able to do that when I did my tour of the UK. I had a phenomenal, I mean, well, people could be the judge. I happen to think it was a phenomenal match with Johnny Kidd out there, an old school British rounds match, where I got to explore my technical wrestling. But nobody in the States is paying me to do anything else than just fight and bleed and throw objects at people. So that would be best describe my style. If it's not stapled down or tied down or bolted down, it's getting thrown in somebody's face.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, Logan definitely has like a rugged style, which we enjoy.
Yes.
We've seen it a lot of times. So yeah, very rugged.
I'm like,
so I always like to ask this just because I feel like the answers are very genuine. What does stepping into the ring mean for you?
Oh man, so I've heard Matt Cross describe it like this as well, like what he's always tried to put out there, and it connected with me in hearing it, and I completely agree. So for me, stepping in the ring is, I want to create the same feeling that I had at like 13, 14, 15 years old, going to like punk and hardcore shows, being in there in the crowd, and just the fun of going out there and just, being part of stuff, and, the danger of, like, who knows who's coming off the stage, and, who's going to start a fight behind you. All of the things that I got to experience as a young kid growing up in the New York hardcore scene, that's what I'd like to bring into, what I'm doing in pro wrestling. So when I step in the ring, to me, it is all about creating that atmosphere for everybody to kind of, it's cliche, but it embrace some form of chaos. You know what I mean? Because you don't know. Who knows? I might end up in your lap. Things might get a little bit crazy. Who knows, what's going on. But at the end of the night, you're going to be thoroughly entertained. That's what getting into the ring means for me.
I like it. We have a bunch of fan tweets, so we're going to rotate them into this interview. But actually, this is a pretty interesting question. So props to you. So it's from our friend MGB Graham. Like, they've really come up with some good questions over there. He goes, as well as yourself, Joey Silver, and Anthony Green have all appeared at Synergy recently, but who is the best wrestling you have faced with a color in their name?
Jeez. I mean, I gotta be completely honest. I think Anthony Green is one of the most unbelievable in-ring performers that I've ever shared the ring with and just know in general. The guy is just absolutely brilliant. And I love him to death. I'm so happy to hear about him moving down to Florida with Ava. I'm elated to hear that. In terms of other wrestlers with colors in their names, again, you're asking a thrice concussed pro wrestler right now to think of colors. Colors and math, it's going to be impossible for me to do. I suppose I'm a huge fan of Facade, who happens to go under the name the Neon Ninja. Neon's the color, right?
Yes.
I think Facade is absolutely criminally underrated as a high flyer. Just absolutely wonderful worker. That's the one that's really coming to mind right now. Yeah, I'm sure at some point, once this call ends, there'll be 10 that pop into my head. I'll be like, shit! Couldn't think of it.
Well,
I'm going to put over Anthony Green and Facade. But
if something pops in your head, like later during this, just go for it. Or we'll tweet it if you think of something
Absolutely.
else. Definitely. So here's a question that I have a question that I've been asking a lot of wrestlers lately, because it's actually pretty interesting to hear some of these. But do you have any pre-match rituals?
I mean, I don't know if I'd consider it a ritual. I'm just kind of chilling out, and I know a lot of people, especially guys who are, rugged and, smash mouth style or hard hitting. They like to, slap their face or, chop themselves. And, I get it completely, but it doesn't work for me. For me, I kind of like to, it's not necessarily meditation, but I'm just chilling out. I'm there. I'm waiting to go out. I'm kind of just, I'll joke around. I'll smile a whole bunch, which is weird because I step through that curtain and I'm ready to rip somebody's head off. But kind of finding that, blank space to kind of just chill and, go out there and focus on doing the best that I absolutely can. I also, if you guys are familiar with the song Moonlight Sonata, it's classical song to piano tune. I happen to think it's just an absolutely brilliant piece of music. But I play that through my head, and that's not necessarily it's only wrestling. Whenever I'm just kind of looking to center myself or chill out, Moonlight Sonata does it for me. So I always play that in through my head, and then I'm good to go and start beating the crap out of people.
Well then,
there you go.
Hey, whatever makes it work, right? Whatever makes it work.
There you go. You want to take that fan tweet, Ray?
Yeah, it's perfect into a segue to my next one. So I'll do this next fan tweet from our good friends over at Good Cop, Bad Cop Wrestling Podcast. They ask, who has been your favorite guest so far on the Year One podcast?
Oh, that's a really, really hard question. Because I've genuinely, there's been, each person that I've had on, I've enjoyed so much, in like their own special way. Where like, you know, this coming week I've got Sydney Bacabella on, you know, who's a wonderful human being, and it was just such a fun podcast. And the week before was a buddy of mine from years back, the Revolting Blob, aka L Shoes. Whereas those are just like super fun and funny and like, oh man, I love these, and you know, they bring back memories. But then like, I'll have Billy Dixon on for like a really serious episode, or you know, Funny Bone. I listened back to his recently. It's like, man, like that was really fun, just kind of seeing like what it was to come up through Nick Bockwinkel. So I can't necessarily put like a favorite on anybody, but I will say that like each one is really awesome to me on my on its own, and especially when I get to talk to somebody who like I've got a really good reputation with or a good friendship with. Like Nick Stapp was really fun for me because him and I talk all the time, and then to just sit down and lay all of that out, it was just super natural. And there are, at this point, I think I have like 20 episodes in the can, just waiting to go out.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of stuff that I really, really enjoyed that I cannot even reveal to you guys. But it'll be coming out soon, so don't worry.
Oh.
Ooh, I can't wait. I definitely love the podcast. I think so far from the ones you've done, the first was great with Moff, and then Hokey stands out to me, and Katridge, just her story as well. It was just great to hear. Like, I love that episode.
And
that's another one where we're talking about, like, you know, personal episodes. Like, yeah, Katridge and I could sit there and laugh back and forth, but Katridge married my partner and I. Like, she officiated the wedding.
Aww.
So, like, she is, like, is so close to my heart. That's a sister to me, literally a sister. So, like, things like that, which are so important to me, those matter to me. But again, every single one is important in its own very special way.
I like it. And if you guys want to find the podcast, the link is in the description below. So you can go there and go give some love and some subs and likes and all that stuff too. And make sure you subscribe to us as well.
Definitely support all the podcasts. Check everything out.
Yes.
Enjoy it. Support all the podcasts.
Wrestling podcasts are dope. Check them
They
all
are.
out.
It's great. I love it. Like each one of these interviews are just special to us. So I can only imagine with you as well. But Ray, you did ask the second part of the question.
I was kind of like,
he was trying to get away from this question. All right. So the question, okay. So they said, but see, I kind of answered this on Twitter though, because they were like, "When are you going to chop Ray?" And I actually responded with, you know, the GIF that I created of you chopping Ray. So I don't know if like you guys want him to chop him again, or I don't know, like.
What? Why don't we do this instead of me chopping Ray, because it's already happened. And Ray was getting lit up that whole night by everybody. Why don't we do this? Because this, to me, is a lot more fun. Because I've got a reputation that was apparently upheld this weekend in Limitless Wrestling. You guys are going to be at Synergy this weekend, correct?
I am. Ray's not. He's afraid. He's running from all the chops this weekend. That's really
no, I'm not.
Ray, next time that you and I are in the same vicinity, I want you to chop me as hard as you possibly can.
Oh!
And I'll tell you why. Because everybody that chops me says that, and this is, again, I'm not trying to put myself over. This is just like people have told me this, that their hand hurts way more than they can imagine my chest hurting.
Oh, okay.
So,
I like this.
if we're looking to inflict pain on Ray, I think that's a whole lot better than me giving him a chop.
I like this
I'll never
idea.
forget, there's a match that Bear Bronson and I had years back. And, you know, just checking in on him the next day. Just being like, hey, dude, how you feeling? And he goes, I'm doing all right. My hand is swollen. What the hell is going on with you, man?
I like it. So you see, Ray, you could chop him. Eventually, you're going to get into the ring with Eric Corvus. I mean, see, we're making moves on the No Holds Barred Network.
Oh, man. I feel like if I chop him, though, that's going to lead to the next match. I'm just going to have matches lined up once I'm done with training. Oh, yeah.
And if you guys have not seen that, it's on the No Holds Barred Network. It is on Indie Talks. It's the first one that we started doing the Chop Ray. And I swear there legit was a line of people going to chop Ray that day. So I get Ray in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there was a line.
So,
Logan's did hurt, I'll say that. Logan's, and then Chris tried to take it easy on me, but still, he hit the shit out of me. Well, let's keep it going.
Jordan Oliver was the one that legit, I was just like, oh man.
yeah.
Woof.
He spun on that one.
Yeah, definitely. But let's keep it going. So, we already started mentioning the podcast, but let's talk a little more about what inspired you to create this great podcast that you've been doing.
Sure. So, I've wanted to do a podcast for a really long time. Actually, at least a year prior to me getting started on the Year One podcast, which is my podcast, I had bought a whole bunch of equipment to get started on doing a podcast where I was just gonna like take it on the road with me and like record stuff on the road. But the equipment that I bought just didn't work. Brand new stuff, it didn't work. So I took it as an omen. I was like, all right, I don't want to do podcasts. And then I was inspired by the Off the Hop Rope podcast, which is done by my friends Top Shelf Troy Nelson, Nick Stapp, and Smart Mark Sterling. Having talked to those guys at like multiple shows, and I'm like, you know what, I want to do this. And the concept I had was, talking about the first year in professional wrestling, because to me, with my experience, and I already shit talked Johnny Roz earlier, but like I look back and there were a lot of memories of that time that were just like, as a much older, much more mature person, I'm like, what was this freak show that I existed in? Like, what? Normal people don't deal with this. This is a crazy people stuff. This is like asylum craziness. So I was like, it's got to be similar for other people, and if not, I want to be able to tell everybody's story. So for me, that's what the Year One podcast was about, is getting that story out for anyone, but specifically for younger wrestlers to listen in and kind of figure out they can take from the experiences of other people and learn from. Because if there's anything that I'd like to get across with this podcast outside of just me chatting up with friends or making friends, it's that we need to create positivity in the pro wrestling scene and leave it better than we found it. So you listen to these stories, whether positive or negative, you take the best parts of it and see what you can do to make things better. That was kind of my goal with this. And, the response that I've gotten back from it has been, overwhelmingly positive. And, like, I can't thank, if you're listening to it, I cannot thank you enough. If you have interest in listening to it, I'll be sure to hype this the rest of the time. But take a listen and like I said, I'm really stoked about all the feedback that I've been getting.
Awesome. I love it. Again, guys, in the description is the link to it. So that's so great. Okay, so our next question is, have you had any outside of the tri-state learning experiences? And if so, how are they compared to the environment here?
Oof. Okay. Are you guys ready for me to completely take a dump on the Northeast? No. So here's my thing, and I'm gonna say this. So I've been lucky enough and very blessed to be able to, like I said, work in the UK and work down south in the Midwest and have contacts all over the place. Prior to coronavirus, I had bookings in Tennessee and South Carolina all lined up, like new states, lots of new states. Somebody just hit me up for Detroit. I don't think I'm going to take that booking, though, because things are rough right now. But, so I've been very lucky to learn all over the place and, network really well. But I think if we're talking about how it compares to the tri-state area, I think the tri-state area has so much insane talent. Like, the Synergy roster itself is just, like, bubbling over the top with incredible talent. So this is not a knock on the talent in the Northeast, but I think if you really break down a lot of what is New York, New Jersey wrestling, there's a bubble here, and I was told that by EC3 at a seminar where he goes, New York and New Jersey are a bubble. Get the fuck out of the bubble, because nothing is really coming out of here that is not moving all over the place and trying to get their name out. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, there's so much talent here, but I think New Jersey has found a lot of problems with just like, I mean, you guys know it. You could spit in any direction to find a promotion. It just, so many people running all over the place, and New York has really been hurt by the athletic commission that pretends to protect professional wrestling, but at the end of the day, they're there to, swing their genitals around and pretend that they're, big and tough and all that, and in reality, they don't give a damn. So I feel like there's been a lot going on that has kind of hindered a lot of the growth of the wrestling scene over here. I think Synergy's doing an excellent job. GCW is global at this point, so like they're well beyond that.
Right.
Same thing with ICW. ICW has grown to be something so much bigger than just like a New Jersey promotion. But yeah, I mean, I really feel like my best learning experiences have all come from, I mean, the UK was great. Learning, you're wrestling twice a night for 6 nights in a row, so like you gotta learn. Wrestling different places in New England, like just, I mean, so much talent. If any of you guys have not gotten a chance to check out what the New England scene looks like, and I'm not talking about guys who are like on top already there. I'm talking about like, guys who are just starting to get their work up. I saw this kid this weekend that blew me away. CJ Cruz was his name, and he's like just starting to get up there. He's working beyond here and there. Stupid talented. Him and Alec Price always stands out to me. Another kid just really great. I know Tyree Taylor I'll put over too. He just moved out to New England as well, but he's a kid from Crown Heights, so like he's Brooklyn, so can't quite put him over as a New England, but like so much talent. I really think like that is where things are at right now. And if young people, young workers in this area want to get it, that's where they can go to learn. Is get yourself out to New England, start learning out there, because that's where the competition is.
Ooh.
Those have been my best learning experiences.
I like hearing like new names that I'm like not familiar with. So it actually, and it's funny because like sometimes people come on the podcast and they bring up names, and then I'll see them like later down the line more. So I'm like, oh, okay, this person talked about this one, so it's great. So I'm looking forward to.
I gotta give a little bit even more credit. Kennedy Copeland stands out to me. The Main State Posse, who at this point are like all over the place. Danger Kid, Aiden Agro, and Alex Lee, phenomenal. Who else? I mean, these dudes from Pittsburgh that we got a chance to work with over the weekend. Sean Phoenix and Andrew Palace. I've known Andrew Palace for years. Stupid underrated. And I finally got to where, but like that New England scene, like for real. Take a look at Limitless. Take a look at Beyond if you're not already watching, and take a look at the promotions out there that are under the radar, because you can always find Limitless and Beyond, because those guys are up top.
Right.
Go a little bit under the surface, find those guys, look these people up, because there is some phenomenal wrestling going on out there.
I love it, and then we have all the apps that we can watch it on as well. By the way, Ryan T's in the chat. He said Logan Black is an awesome talent. Very nice. Anyway, Ray, you want to do this fan tweet?
Okay, got it. No problem. Here from MGB Mason. I see why you're telling me this, because I think you wanted to throw me under the bus again, Tiff. So they ask, any predictions for the first match of the Nerd World Order at Synergy's 3rd birthday?
I mean, predictions? There's nothing I could really put out there. We kicked the crap out of 2 people, 2 young wrestlers at the last show. Nerd World Order just getting it together. Chris and I are a well-oiled machine. We're wrestling every single week. At this point, we're still wrestling pretty regularly together. There's, and this is not me, like, I think Kip is a fantastic wrestler. I'm just starting to see who Joey Silver is, and I think he's super talented as well. So I think those guys are both great, and I think they, at one point, will be a phenomenal tag team together, and, I think that this Saturday night is going to be their night, simply because we have experience, we have chemistry, and chemistry is a hard thing to build if you're a tag team. Right? It's really hard to build that chemistry, especially if you're not like riding up and down the road with somebody. And I don't think that's the case for Joey and Kip. I think they just get together because they want to win matches, and again, that's cool. Gotta make your money, but at the same time, it's like, I'm riding up and down the road with Chris. We were in hotels all this weekend. He was farting up in that room nonstop. When you have that going down, that's chemistry. There's no other way to put it. Like, that's chemistry. We're gonna ride up and down. We're gonna talk about everything that we're doing. We know how to run this, and it's that simple. Like, they're gonna be a great tag team at one point, but they're gonna learn a lesson real quick on Saturday that maybe they need a bit more experience before they step in with a seasoned tag team like Chris and I.
Ooh, there you go. There you have it.
Man.
There you have
I kind of feel bad for Joey. He's a friend of mine, but hey, I kind of. You'll see this week, guys. We're gonna.
I mean, we've had them on the No Holds Barred Network as well, guys. So make sure you check out those interviews as well. So, but I'm looking forward to it. So. But.
I'm not just saying this because Logan's across from us right now, but we are doing a prediction show this week, and I do sadly have the AOC going over. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I bet on it too. Like it's again, no disrespect to those guys. They're excellent talents. You're not going to beat experience, and you're not going to beat chemistry, and it's build up those tag team reps before you step in there with a team like the AOC.
Ooh, all right. But wait a minute. So now, like, I'm thinking about it. Like, what happens if Jason Sinclair gets in here? Like, I don't know. All right, we're gonna move on. We're just gonna move on. Like, we'll leave that for the prediction show.
All done. So let's keep it going. Speaking of tag teams, let's go from the East Coast Bastard Crew, the Cutthroat Kings, to now the Apostles of Chaos. You've been a part of multiple tag teams / factions. Would you say you prefer that style or to be a lone wolf in the ring?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there's anything that I necessarily prefer. I happen to like the art form that is tag team wrestling because, I mean, as a guy who likes throwing weapons around and, doesn't like, following the rules so much and kind of, what you would call like gimmick matches, tag team wrestling is a gimmick match. Like, there's just how it is. Yeah. So I like those quite a bit, and I think that when done right, tag team wrestling is one of the most entertaining things you could have on a card.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that I prefer tag team wrestling to single stuff, but I will say that it allows me and Chris to be very, very creative with the amount of violence that we can inflict on other people.
Okay. I like it. Could you give us your best road trip story?
Well, let's see. Which ones can I get away with legally telling you? I'm trying to pull some road trip stories together that are easily digestible and are not like, oh man, like what is going on here? There's one that a buddy of mine, American Sumo Mike Gamble, likes to tell. He was telling it this weekend. It's not so much a road story as much as it is a show story. But we were on the road and it wasn't in the ring. So we're getting prepped for a show in Massachusetts, and it's me and Mike Gamble and the ever popular Slade, and we're trying to figure out where we can get tables for merch. So, long story short, we realize that the tables are in a locked room that no one gets. So I'm like, I could pick a lock. Like, this is nothing. Let's go for it. So I pull out, I have a credit card in my wallet that is legitimately, it's expired, it's useless, and all scratched up because I just use it to break into shit. So I've got Slade, who's probably done this 10 minutes prior and, for weeks prior. And then, I'm sitting there, and Mike is very, very excited because this is the first potential crime that he's ever committed or been an accessory to. So he was very excited, and he likes to brag about that as often as humanly possible. But an actual road trip story, like on the road, riding around. So the way that it worked when I was out in England is that we would, we'd fill up cars, and the van that we rode with, which was like the ring truck / van, I would be riding with the promoter. And this specific night, we packed up. I rode back with the promoter, and all the other wrestlers on the show all hopped in a different car to drive back as well. We left maybe 5 minutes prior to them, and I think they went a different direction. So we ended up riding around. We get back to the town to drop stuff off at, and stop for kebabs, because there's a lot of kebab shops in London, which they're heads and tails about what we got here. I don't know why, but oh man, are they so good. And it's also the only food that you can get at like 2 a.m. in London.
Oh wow.
But we're there, we're eating, and then we get back to the promoter's house we were staying at, and we get a phone call from this car, and apparently they took a wrong turn and like got caught on, like, they couldn't move. Like, it was just traffic backed up, they closed off something, and they couldn't move. So this entire car comes back to the promoter's house, and none of them have eaten, and they're all completely just miserable. They're like, oh, we're stuck in the car for now, we can't eat. And the promoter's just sitting there and just like, well, I had a delicious kebab. Logan, you had a delicious kebab as well, didn't you? Oh, it was so good. And just for the whole rest of the week we were there, just kept teasing these guys. Like, oh, you know, I could really go for a kebab right now, but I had such a delicious one the other day. What did you guys have for dinner? Oh, you had nothing. That's a nice, easily digestible road story. Just how everybody screws with each other on the road.
Wow.
That or Chris this weekend eating Taco Bell both for lunch and then for dinner, and then just like he was a very, very gassy fella in that hotel room to the point where we were both waking up early. I wake up at 6:30 every morning no matter what, but Chris woke up, and then like by 9 o'clock he's like, yo, I was waking myself up like all night with farting. I'm like a dog. Like, you're waking yourself up with farts like a dog. Like, this is absolute ridiculousness. But apparently, like, you know, Chris can do that and then wrestle like, you know, 2 long matches that are just bangers because he's a machine. So props to him. He's a Taco Bell inhaling in-ring monster.
Oh man, I feel like we're gonna have him and Alex Zane like have some sort of contest or something.
Taco Bell is legit. Like, whenever we were on the road, that's like the go-to food. Chris had been talking about wanting to boycott Taco Bell because they cut the menu.
Right.
And
yeah.
he was like, I can't go there anymore. We can't do that. But it was the only thing that was open.
Oh wow.
That we were ended up passing by. So it was like, all right, we got to get it. And he seemed to have no issue ordering, you know, off their current menu. So it's just like, oh, you just want to be angry at Taco Bell for taking your loaded grillers off, you jerk.
No Wawa? That seems to be the thing, man. The Wawa.
we're Sheets guys. We prefer Sheets. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know the big debate is always Wawa versus Sheets, and you've got your Jersey crew that'll swear by their hoagies at Wawa. But like, nah, man, Sheets is where it's at. Sheets is where you can get like the Diet Faygo root beer, which, if you ask Jeff Cannonball, is the greatest root beer in existence. Faygo root beer. It's unbelievable. And that's always my go-to. And then, like, the food they have there is so much better than Wawa, in my opinion. I will gladly pick and fight for Sheets over Wawa. I know Chris will as well. And anybody that travels with me usually has the same opinion once they've tried Sheets.
Okay. All right. I got to try this now. I haven't had it. So, Ray, we're going to have to go find one, like, one of our next wrestling shows.
Well, unless I'm with Smiley, then I have to lie and say I'll go for Quick Check. I've been in that Smiley car, and it's like, no, we're going to Quick Check.
Okay. There you go. So go ahead, Ray. Go do that fan tweet.
Okay, these are for some of my friends here from the GAWP. They ask, when will we see the return of airing of grievances?
Oh man, you know, it's funny. I just started training wrestling students again in Brooklyn. There's a school that has opened up, the T2T Wrestling Academy. Myself, Brother Greatness, and MV Young are all trainers over there. And a couple of the students have started going back and watching those videos and liking them because I'm getting the notifications. I don't think that I want to bring back the airing of grievances. I'm more than happy if anybody wants to ask me any other grievances. I could trust me. There's a long list of grievances that I can put out there. I don't think I'm going to produce those videos because I wanted to try and switch the focus from that to the podcast. That's, another reason why I started the podcast. It was just a matter of like, I could sit there and record these videos nonstop, but let's try and put something together a little bit more positive. Not that, my little idiosyncrasies on wrestling are, not positive, but like, it's wrestling. We're beating each other up in our underwear. Just have fun. Let's not focus on these things. While I still stand by all those things that I say in terms of like the little minutia. So don't expect the airing of grievances to come back. However, if you'd like to know any other grievances I have, please tweet at me. I will gladly, personalize a grievance for anybody who asks.
Well then. No, I definitely remember that series, and I definitely agreed with, I think, 90% of the videos that you had put out, just from, like, the little things that, from training. I'm like, that's right, though. You should do it this way, or do it, like, it's little simple things, but...
Yeah, that's really what, for me, like, I sit there, and because I'm such a nerd on so many things, like, I really just focus on the little details, because that was the stuff that, like, as my fandom was growing, I'd be sitting there and watching, like, oh, this guy does that. But after a while, I think you realize that, like, only a very small segment of the fan base is focused on, like, well, he, turned his wrist this way because that hurts more. And it's like, well, man, like, I'm a big proponent of comedy wrestling. I'm a big proponent of just, like, The Undertaker conjured fire at WrestleMania this year and, like, made lightning bolts fall from the sky. John Cena magically disappeared for a while and then magically reappeared. Like, it's wrestling. Like, have fun with it. Cool. Please focus on, like, that stuff, because I think that, like, there could be a great deal of, there's a great deal to learn from really focusing on those little details and being, like, that, like, scientific wrestler. But shit, if you're in a fight, you're not going to do a 630 from, the outside to the inside, but who cares? Because that stuff is so entertaining and so awesome to watch.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Tiff can tell you because she's been next to me at shows, and she'll see, I'm like, hey, they could have done this at least a little different, and I'm just breaking down, and I'm like, shit, I got to stop doing
I'm like,
that.
Ray, stop it.
Like,
have fun.
You don't have to, because, like, that's, I think, the great thing about being a wrestling fan or a fan of anything. Again, like, there's a difference between being like a fan and just being like, this is what I enjoy and how I enjoy it, and this is for me, this is not for me. Like, that's cool.
Exactly.
Hell yeah, dude. Like, do that. Be yourself. There's a difference between being that person who does that and then goes all over the internet and goes, everything sucks, this person sucks, I hate them, everyone else should hate them. There's a toxicity to any type of fandom, but, like, if you're enjoying it yourself, you're just like, yeah, this is what I like. For me, I don't like electronic music very much. Like, techno doesn't do it for me. But I'm not gonna sit there and go, fuck techno. Techno sucks. If you listen to techno, like, don't even look at me. It's like, whatever, man. Like, enjoy what you enjoy. Have fun. I'm gonna enjoy A while you enjoy B, and that's cool. Yeah. As long as we can, come together and not be buttholes about it.
No, you're right. You're right. I always say that. That's why, and that's why we try to keep a positive podcast here as well. So much that we enjoy.
Hell yeah.
So, go ahead, Ray.
Let's keep it going here. So, if there was one person you could face again in a heartbeat, who would it be?
Oh man, that is it's another loaded question because there's so many people and I don't want to exclude anyone. I'll run down the list of people who I've had an absolute blast working with, and I will wrestle any day of the week. Jeff Cannonball is among one of my absolute favorites. Tara Calloway, who is no longer wrestling, but one of my absolute favorite opponents. Bang, bang, bang. Jason Karloff, who's long retired. Slade, I've had bangers with. Some of the matches this weekend with Kennedy Copeland, I'll wrestle any night of the week. Mutually Assured Destruction, Rip Bison and Perry Von Vicious. Dope tag team from New England that Chris and I have wrestled multiple times and always tear the house down with. Love to get back in there with them again. I'd love another match with Rhino. Had a really fun one. Jeez, like there's... honestly, I'm one of those people where, like, if I've had fun, I'm gonna want to do it again. So like, you can literally go down like the list on Cage Match for me, and like, yeah, I'm gonna want to wrestle that person again.
Yeah. So with that being said, who's the dream opponent?
Oof. So I could get out there and be like, Terry Funk is my dream opponent. Terry Funk will never wrestle again, and that's understandable because he's pushing 80, not 80 at this. He's my favorite wrestler of all time, but like that would be a dream match. But in terms of like realistic dream matches, I'll focus on people that I was at least like told that I'd be working, and then it didn't pan out, which often happens. So like Nick Gage was on my list. Jimmy Havoc was on my list. Geez, I'm again drawing a blank because I've been hitting the head so many damn times. But honestly, there are so many people at this point that are just moving there. And I love to work the reject. I'd love for Chris and I to get in there with the rejects, Reed Bentley and John Wayne Murdoch. I did that as another tag team a number of years back, and it was a lot of fun. And I'd love to do it again because those guys are just absolutely wonderful as in-ring performers. Ooh. So there's a lot on there.
Of course, yeah. I love it. I love to see you and Nick Gage. Definitely. That would definitely be a fight.
I was looking forward to that when it was supposed to happen.
Hey, maybe we'll get it. I'm going to cross my fingers for it. So,
let's keep it going. So, for those that may not know, you've had a hand in training a lot of the future talent here in the tri-state area, but as of recently, you've been announced as the head trainer at Technique to Train Wrestling Academy. Could you tell us a bit, though, of what got you into training other talent?
So, I mean, I think what got me into training people is I naturally, like, I have a knack, or not a knack, I'm not putting myself over here. I have an interest in teaching. I like to teach. I like to spread knowledge. It's fun for me. It fulfills me. So in doing that, I've found my way into training at various places, and the current venture is the Technique to Training Academy. It's brand new, so most of the people there are brand new as well. But I think there's a nice crew of people who are coming up and putting in a lot of time and effort. They inspire me every time I go into training because they're also passionate about pro wrestling and passionate about learning, which I feed off that energy. And my whole thing when it comes to training is creating an environment that fosters learning. And I've said this on my podcast so many times, but it's the truth. And I take a lot of what I've seen from other trainers that I respect, guys like Kerry Awful down in Tennessee and Cheeseburger in Philly. These are dudes that I have an insane amount of respect. Travis Huckabee in Philly as well. I think he's a brilliant trainer too. I think these guys are all great, and I take so much of what I've learned from being around them and the energy, because it really is about energy. If you create a place where people either don't want to be, or a place that it just is all about negativity, nobody's learning. Nobody wants to learn, and everybody's at each other's throats. But if everybody's motivating each other and working hard, and keeping everything together so that we all grow together as well as individually, that's all I want.
Right.
That's all I'm looking for. So that's pretty much my entire philosophy on everything is create a positive environment that fosters learning. And that's, I think, what T2T is all about.
That's exciting. I mean, I've been seeing the post about it all, so I'm like looking forward to see like where it goes and footage and all that as well. So awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, my infamous question. I ask everybody this. What's the craziest thing a fan's done to get your attention?
Do you really want the answer to this question? I'm going to be completely honest. Like I said, I don't pull punches, so I'm going to be very honest about this question.
Go for it.
Cool. So, for those of you who are watching, you may be familiar with Jordan Grace had put out a book, the diary or the memoirs of a pro wrestling DMs,
Right.
where she just pretty much published all the DMs that she got from like creepy dudes. Brilliant. Beautiful. But I get some of those too every once in a while, and for the most part, I will ignore, because I'm not one to shame anybody, but also you're coming at me with unsolicited sexual stuff that, like, hey man, like, if that's your thing, cool, but don't just, you got, consent is very, very key, which is important. But there was one person who kept vying for my attention, lots and lots of messages and DMs, and finally it ended with them inquiring, like, hey, could I ask you a question? And when I get a DM like that, I always make sure to answer, even if this person has been like inappropriate or anything in the past, because it's a business. So if your question is like, how can I send you money for a shirt, I'm going to, of course, be answering that. But this person was, sure, what is your question? And they sent me a cartoon, and the cartoon was like, it was like a comic strip of a smaller person, like smaller in stature, who was a roommate of a larger person, who I'm guessing was supposed to be me in this interesting fantasy, where that smaller person had stolen the last beer from the fridge and drank it. And the bigger person was like, hey, where's my beer? And the small person was like, oh, I drank it. And the bigger person was like, oh, you can't be doing that. The little guy was like, what are you going to do? So the big person took the smaller person and squished them into a tiny ball, like, what do you call it? Like a cartoon, like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And then shoved them down the front of their underwear, so they were just chilling in there. And this was this person's interesting fantasy that they were trying to push on me, because I had recognized after this text that at least a year prior, that was what they had asked me to do to them in a random DM. So the weirdest thing that a fan has ever done to get my attention was ask me to squish them together like a ball, as if they were a Looney Tunes cartoon, and shove them down the front of my pants.
I think that tops the key on the network, Ray. Oh my god.
I've never been left speechless with these answers, and
what the heck?
I'll reiterate again. I am not one to kink shame anybody. I'm not one to shame anybody on anything. Enjoy what you enjoy, but please don't come at me with anything that is not consensual. And in reality, I'm not looking to engage with fans outside of just casual fun talk. And I'm punk rock as it gets. So please, hey, how's it going, Logan? Cool. I like this match. Hey, I like this match too. What did you think of this? Cool. I'll engage with you at that. My merch table, my DMs, cool. Start asking me to scrunch you up and put you in my pants, it's gonna be a hard block. I'm sorry.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So people are wilding out in the chat. It's great. Like, what the hell? I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is a new fetish. I don't know.
Listen, again,
is that what the cool kids are doing?
All power to that person. I hope they find somebody to engage in that with them in a consensual manner. It was not me, and it was not that day. I think no joke, it came up, the screen cap of one of their DMs to me came up in my time hop recently, and I saved it. So I will message that to you guys. We'll keep that private for now. I'll message it to you guys.
Excuse me, I'm gonna shrink you and put you in my pants. Like, what the hell? I guess that's the new pickup line. I'm gonna start using that on some guys.
God.
My God. Let's keep going.
Wow. So let's go back to wrestling here. So as of late, we've gotten to see you compete at Synergy Pro Wrestling, which leaves us with the question, though, what's been the beef and the continuous attacks on Jason Sinclair? A man I would say would be like a prodigy to you, correct? Like, you've taught this, you've taught him a lot.
I trained him. He trained under me. He learned on the road with Chris. I mean, we were family, and I think there's still a part of us that kind of still is a family. You know what I mean? Like, it's you don't just kind of toss people to the side. That's that's an emotional connection. You know what I mean? When you've spent so many years close with somebody in anything. I'm not just talking about wrestling. I'm just talking about like even friends, man. Like there's still a part, which is why I think everything just comes off as so savage, because the dude just can't get his head screwed on straight, and I don't understand what his issues are. I don't understand where it's coming from. He went off to the military to go train to be a Marine and be like a legitimate trained killer, and kind of just, you figure that he'd get more discipline there, and he just did not. And at the end, we're a unit that's looking to, not talk the talk, but we're looking to, not send a message with words, but, prove a point with actions. And he was not about that. And I don't have time to waste on people who are about make the difference that I see that is necessary when it comes to building my name and my brand and my crew's name and our brand. If he's not about that, then I don't got time for him. He doesn't seem to have any type of issue doing the same to us, but at the same time, I think that, despite his Marine training, despite the fact that, I'm sure he's done some really gross things, he's just unable to get that done when it comes to us, because we've always got the jump on him.
Okay. So I guess we'll see what also happens this weekend as well. So moving on to another fan tweet from our friend Corrine Mink. She said, "What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?"
We're going back to the airing agreements now with the flavors of ice cream. So anything that has peanut butter in it, I love peanut butter. So that would be a favorite. I will say the best ice cream I probably had in the last a long time. My partner makes ice cream at home.
Oh.
So she made this ice cream the other week that was homemade brownies mixed in with vanilla ice cream and a peanut butter ribbon in there.
Oh, wow.
And it was, oh man, was it incredible. And then she also made this peach sorbet that was just insane.
God.
It was peach with like other stuff mixed in, but holy moly was it just like, with like legitimate there were real peaches in there.
Oh, wow.
And real blueberries and fruits.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
she's incredible.
Oh my God.
That was legit, I think.
Wow. I was going to say, like, can I hang out with her? Because, like, I'm known for my cookies and my pies and all that stuff like that. And, like, can we, like,
she loves to bake.
Can we do, like, Thanksgiving together?
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen.
I can cook.
I'll let her know you'll be in her DMs.
All right, I'm gonna slide in the DMs and we're gonna trade recipes and all that stuff. And Ray can definitely vouch for me that I can definitely cook and I can bake, and even the wrestlers start looking for my cookies and stuff. So it's like a legit thing. Like I'm gonna have to start selling them at shows, I think.
For real, get your money, girl.
I know. Gotta pay for this podcast stuff. But let's move on. What's one of your favorite moments in the ring thus far?
Oh boy! Again, these questions are so hard, because I want to exclude something that like really did matter to me, but then go back and it's like, oh, I forgot about this or that.
Yeah.
I think anytime I get to share the ring with somebody like Katrid, like that's means a ton to me, or Jason Karloff, who's another, like, that is like family to me, and being part of his retirement match when that happened meant the absolute most to me. Getting to perform at any point in Western Massachusetts, the fans over there are some of the best that I have ever had the chance to interact with. Any time that I could ever be feeling crappy or a lack of confidence, all I need to do is have a match in Western Mass, and those fans gas me up. The Chair City Street fight I had with Bear Bronson is another one that stands out. That was really, really important to me. There's really, anytime I step into the ring, there's something about that match or that segment or anything that I do that's gonna stand out to me, and I'm gonna kind of take as you and take it to heart, because I take everything to heart.
Good.
Well done.
Okay, right.
Okay, so your thoughts on wrestling finally making its way back, its return now during this pandemic, and with its absence, what does that mean finally stepping back in for you? What does performing in that ring mean to you?
So I think we took the break that we needed when the pandemic first started, because you can't have shows in the middle of like the as the numbers are going up, you gotta think about keeping everybody safe. I think now that things are starting to, at least in this area, because there are some areas that are really dumb. Wear your masks, people. That's starting to kind of go down or at least taper off a bit. Going about things in a safe manner is the respectful and best way to go about things. So I think people are they're just like chomping at the bit for wrestling, and I understand you're a wrestling fan. You go to shows every weekend or every other weekend, and now you don't have that. What goes on? Like a lot of wrestlers don't know what to do because we're not on our regular schedules anymore. But a lot of places are doing things the right way. Like talk about synergy, where everybody's masked up, everybody gets gets temperature checks, the ring gets wiped down. So safety is key. But I also think that once this pandemic is finally behind us, you're gonna see a boom in independent wrestling, because people are they're waiting to go to a show and be right up front and have somebody dive on them, or just get some kind of debris right next to their foot. People are dying for this, and once that is available to them again in a safe manner, I think you're going to see attendance numbers go up for the promotions that have been smart about going, putting out content and things. There are a lot of places that I have no idea why they aren't, doing their damnedest to capitalize on the fact that, like, well, here's a time to reset and rethink and get creative. Because, how are you not putting out content right now if you're a wrestling promotion? That's what I'm trying to say. So, in general, I think things are going to bump their way up, and a lot of promotions are going to really benefit once this is behind us.
Oh, I agree. So let's ask a little bit about you. What do you like to do when you're not in the squared circle?
Oh man, so I love to work out. Love to lift heavy. I've been lucky this quarantine that I've been able to bump all my powerlifting numbers up. I also love comic books. I'm a big, massive comic book nerd. Huge. If you think you're a comic book nerd, I'm a step above you, I guarantee it. So I love to collect comics, and I love to read comics. Very excited for this week, because the X of Swords story arc gets started, so I'm excited to see where that goes. But yeah, comic books are my big thing. If you find Chris and I on the road anywhere and we have any kind of free time, and you want to just, hey, I want to stalk the Apostles of Chaos while they're on the road. Guaranteed, if it's in your town, find us at a record store for Chris or a comic store for me and Chris. Listen, yesterday I picked up at Bull Moose Records in Maine. What did I get? I got the second volume of Old Man Hawkeye because I needed it, and then 3 other volumes of Ultimate Spider-Man because I'm trying to complete that collection. And then Chris made me buy a Terry Funk vinyl record, which I just, as a fan, I couldn't turn it away.
Aw, I like it. That's awesome. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to do a little plug for my show now. I might have to get Logan to come on the roundtable just to talk about comics. Cause
there you go.
Ooh,
dude, please. I like a year ago I had put out there. I'm like, yo, if you do comic book podcasts, please have me on because I'd love to talk about this stuff. Because I mean, like, I love wrestling. I love doing wrestling podcasts, but like nobody has me on to talk about like comics, which are another passion of mine. And I did a few then, and I loved it. So please, whenever you have me, let's make it happen. I would love to talk all things comics.
There you go.
Well then, there you go. So keep that in the works, ladies and gentlemen, and that's gonna happen. But let me continue on here with this interview, and I have this interesting question about an origin of your brass knucks. How did that come to fruition here with what you bring to the ring?
Sure. So, it's kind of a two-parter of a story. I'll concise it. Growing up in the punk and hardcore scene, every once in a blue you'd see some jackass hop in the pit with some knuckle dusters on and just start swinging at people. It was part of the scene. And that's like hand-to-hand fighting, punching, swinging is so much more personal than like a gun to take somebody out. And I think that's why like that was a thing. Like it's a street fight thing. Like, you know, you don't see people going to war with brass knucks. You know what I mean? That's street. So that was always like ingrained in me. And I started putting it on my gear because I think that represented, you know, my style and who I was. And I believe it was Dan Barry who, after seeing me work, he's like, "You've got brass knucks on your tights. Why don't you walk out with them?" And I kind of dismissed it for a while because I was like, "What? Well, why am I going to carry around weapons?" And then it clicked with me. It's like, oh, it makes perfect sense. Dan knows what the hell he's talking about. And I started carrying brass knucks to the ring, and you know that's, you know, it's been history ever since.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, so this was actually an interesting question. We were laughing about it earlier. So if we were gonna go through your gear bag, what would we find? Would we find a picture of Jason Sinclair with an X over his face, or?
No, I mean, you can find those on my phone, but you're gonna find a lot of other stuff
Oh,
on my
okay.
phone. So just keep that in my pocket. No, so in my gear bag is pretty much I've got gear. I travel very light because my merch bag is so big. If you guys have ever seen my merch table, it's pretty big. So my gear bag is usually pretty light, but in general, you're gonna find like in terms of like other interesting weird things. I always have cards for my podcast to hand out to fans or anybody else, and you'll probably, again, we go back to comic books. If I've been traveling anywhere, you're going to find a bag with some comics in there that I've purchased either just before the show or even earlier. And then possibly buried is like some other graphic novel that I was reading on the ride over. So books.
Okay.
Because, you know, I walk out with brass knucks, but I've got books in my gear bag.
Okay. Okay. I like it.
Got to stimulate the mind. There
Definitely.
Or
Good, Ray. Bring us
okay.
down.
So, yeah, we're finally at the last two questions here, but at least for us. If you have questions down below, please let us know, guys. So, what is the end goal for Logan Black? What would you like your legacy in wrestling to be?
I don't even know if I want a legacy in professional wrestling, man. Everybody that I've ever idolized in like punk or hardcore is like died out really, really fast. Like it's just out of nowhere, you know, die before you get old, right? But to not be so nihilistic, I think I want to have fun with this. I think at this point, like, all I've ever wanted to do in wrestling was I've done most of those, and I think now I want to have fun. This is supposed to be fun. Like, it's a job. It's, you know, you're making money with it, but like, if you're not having fun, what are you doing? Why are you going to do something and show up and be miserable every single day for it? So I just want to have fun. And if there is a legacy for me, I just want somebody to be like, I love Logan Black because he brought an energy to the ring and to the crowd that was unique. That's all I could ask for.
See, I love that. It's like simple, but like I just like, even me as a fan, I just want to go. I want to enjoy. I want to have fun. I want to get Ray in trouble. Sorry, Ray. Nah, I love it. I love it. All right, so let's get down to this last question. So I like to ask everybody this because it's always, you know, a lot of people kind of always ask this question, so I bring it to you guys. So to all inspiring and amateur wrestlers out there, what's a piece of advice that you would give them?
Let's see. If I could give the young wrestlers any advice, and it's the same advice that I give my students at T2T, it's simply never stop learning. The second that you feel like you've learned all that you could learn, quit, do something else. It's one of the pieces of advice that I was given early on, and it always sticks with me. If I go somewhere and I do something, whether it's, talk to you guys or get in the ring or train, if I'm not learning something and doing it, why am I doing it?
Right.
So always be learning, always be a sponge, never stop learning. Take positive and, take whatever is negative, turn it positive, take the positive and, continue to parlay it. Do whatever you can to continue learning from every experience you have, because once you stop learning, it's time to go. Like it's not good anymore. It's not enriching. So always be learning.
I like it. Very straight to the point. I love it. Tell everybody where
That's
they can
awesome.
find you if they want to come find you.
All right, so this is going to be. I tried to stay as concise as possible. I know I have a big mouth, but this is going to be long-winded, so I hope y'all are prepared.
All right.
You can find me on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at King of Chaos NYC. That's for my wrestling-related stuff, which is pretty much where you should be checking me out. I update that stuff all the time. If you would like to purchase shirts from me or any other merch, which you should, because I've got dope shirts. You've got two options. You've got my Pro Wrestling Tees store, which is prowrestlingtees.com/King of Chaos NYC, or the newly minted store that I just opened up where you order directly from me. New stuff coming out. Actually, as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to be updating it with some new stuff up there. That would be kingofchaosnyc.bigcartel.com. So please, by all means, go there and buy some merch, because support your local independent wrestler and your local ass-kicking brawler deathmatchy guy. And then I gotta hype the Year One Wrestling podcast, which is my podcast. I have guests on, some of your favorite wrestlers come on, and we talk about their first year in professional wrestling and how it has shaped them into being who they are right now. You could check that out on all social media at Year One Pod. Year, that's number 1 pod. And you can legitimately find that podcast. I've made sure it is literally anywhere that you can get a podcast. If you've got Spotify, it's there. Apple, it's there. Google, it's there. We're on Pandora. It's everywhere. And then in relation to that, the YouTube channel for the podcast has new content put up every single week. All different types of stuff that I try and get up there. So please go right ahead. Like, subscribe, share. Anything you can do. Just like these guys here at the No Holds Barred podcast. Again, concussions, people. Everything is DIY. We're working within ourselves to make this work, and we build this community together. So please help me keep this thing DIY. Like, subscribe, put on your notifications, leave me some feedback, tweet some fun stuff at me, whatever you guys got. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the only places you can really find me. If you stay with me on social media, you'll know where I'll be for shows and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's it.
And all the links are below in the description. So go click it, go give some love and give us some love. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, do everything. We're all over the place as well. So, but yeah, Ray, is there anything else that I'm missing from this?
No, definitely, guys. Just support the community, be positive as always, and try to encourage each other, especially with the times that we're going through. Just have fun, create content, all that good stuff.
All that fun stuff. And make sure you guys also check out Synergy's 3rd birthday this Saturday. I'll be there. Unfortunately, there won't be any Chop Ray. But I'll have
I still say you and April got to take some chops for me. It's only fair.
Nope. That wasn't the deal. It's not Chop Tiff. It's not Chop April. It's Chop Ray. It's the movement. There's a shirt.
No, this is true.
There's a shirt,
guys.
Yeah, there's a shirt. Go make sure you check out the No Holds Barred on Teesprings as well. So you buy some merch from us as well. But yeah, so we will be there. Ray and Ray are going to do a prediction show, I think, Friday for Synergy. So make sure you check that out as well. And I think that's pretty much it, right? So again, thank you again so much, Logan Black. We appreciate you. Can't wait for Saturday to see you then. Good luck as well as for the podcast as well. But yeah, I think that's about it. So guys, it's been a pleasure as always, and we shall talk to you soon.
See you guys. Peace.